Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads@xzoneradiotv.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
The X-Zone Radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio and TV show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, and the stations or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our new broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide, toll-free 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, Skype, on YouTube, on Vimeo, on Blogger, MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Reader, Tumblr, Skyrocket, StumbleUpon, and the list goes on and on and on. When it comes to a social network, just one address, X-Zone Radio TV. And of course, our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And I'd like to say hello to a number of our affiliates and networks tonight. I'd like to say hi to the America Talk Network, the Angel Broadcast Network, Seastorm Radio, Good News Radio Network, KKRP AM 1610 in Oklahoma, KLAE in Oregon, KIUT
KIJS AM 1610 in Montana, KOHI 1600 in St. Helens, Oregon, KPPA in Missouri, KTAH in Utah. Let's see, what else do we have here, Craig? Let me see. To all the new people that listen to the Sirius Satellite Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Turquoise Radio Network, WANF in New York, WFBN in Washington, the Wiki Broadcast Network, and now on, let me see, WPAF in Wisconsin, and that's just about a tenth of the list. Son of a gun, we're growing thanks to you, the great members of the worldwide X-Zone Nation. Tonight we're going to be talking to a lady who is an expert. She is the original crappie. That's right, I'm talking about Patty GREER. And Patty had a life-changing out-of-body experience in the center of United Kingdom Crop Circle in 2007. And that was the day her perception of reality was changed forever. She saw and felt things she had never expected or experienced before. She clearly wasn't alone within 2.5 years of the day, as she produced 4 full feature documentary films with no training, experience, or previous interest in filmmaking whatsoever. Her movies focus on UFOs, crop circles, and 2012, and she's won 6 prestigious awards. In 2010, she completed her 5th film, doing the editing as well. Joining me now from somewhere in the Rocky Mountains is Patty GREER. And Patty, welcome back to the X-Zone.
Thank you. Good evening, Rob, and good evening, everyone.
Patty, what have you been up to? You've been producing, making films, but what else have you been doing since you and I last talked?
Well, since we talked, I have taken it on the road and been out speaking publicly at some of the UFO conventions. Whole different paradigm than sitting in a studio making movies, which cost a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So I reached out, and it's been really fun speaking for public. I was at Dolores Cannon's Transformation Conference in July. I spoke at the Roswell Festival and rode on the Roswell Parade of Lights float. That was a first. And they invited me back for next year, and I'm very excited. I'm one of the speakers at the International UFO Congress Convention coming up in February.
Patty, you and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. When we come back, let's talk about crop circles. X-Zone Nation, Patty GREER is my special guest. She is the original crappie, and her website, filled with information, filled with trailers, and you can learn so much by going to pattygreer.com. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. And Patty GREER and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break. So whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Nicholas P. Jennings is a lover of humanity and a seeker of truth. Using facts and not opinion, he exposes misconceptions spread by religious and political organizations. While theology, engineering, and science were his fields of academics, history, philosophy, and humanities are his fields of research. His article entitled "The Obama-Iran Nuclear Deal Must Be Stopped" exposes lies by Obama to approve a nuclear deal. This deal benefits Iran domestically and militarily, but compromises the security of the United States. The Jennings article is provided on the internet link www.rel-mar.com/NG1. That's www.rel-mar.com/NG1.
Call him Reef. Reef is your host. Reef is your guide. Are you happy? Happiness is like trying to find water in the desert. Can you find any? Sometimes, sure, but only a few drops. God is an ocean of joy. But God is not cheap. You cannot find God in a chemical. You must attract God's attention. How? Not by living to please your senses. That is false ego. The matrix is not real. It is a computer-enhanced hallucination. You are spirit soul, not the body. We have forgotten how splendid our home really is, the spiritual sky. For more information, visit rishasongofblue.com. That's www.reeshassongofblue.com.
Fartlets, fartlings, pongies, and honkers. They have so many names, makes you go bonkers. Rear tempest, butt bubbles, bottom burps, all aside. Why does it smell like a little rat died? Hail the fart, whenever, wherever, whoever. Its existence actually enriches our lives because it gives us those unforgettable moments that we can all recall again and again that are always good for yet another laugh. A new expose on farting. Get your copy of The Endearing Fart by Eileen Dover at www.theendearingfart.com.
Crimson flames tied through my ears, flowing high and mighty trapped. Countless fire and flaming road, using ideas as my maps. We'll meet on edges soon, said I, proudly beaded brow. Ah, but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now.
Exonation, Patty Greer is my special guest this hour. Her website is www.pattygreer.com, and that's PATTYGREER.com. Patty, is there anything new, or have there been any recent developments when it comes into the investigation and the discovery? What is behind one of the most fascinating mysteries, crop circles?
I think what's really stunning the most to me now is that nobody's talking about them. And the films that I made accidentally actually feature who I pretty much am sure have an involvement in the crop circles, which are these illuminated balls of light. And I'm one of the few people that has filmed them at night in really great detail. And that's what's unusual about my work. But I want to kind of start at the beginning because some of your audience might not have really understood what crop circles are. And because the press and for some reason schools aren't talking about them, I just want to make a point that they're not going away anytime soon. In my opinion, these crop circles, which are laid down, beautifully laid down patterns in fields of wheat and corn and barley, and they happen all over the world, but mostly in an area in England which is between Stonehenge, very famous,
Yes.
and Glastonbury, very famous. And right there in the middle of this phenomena is the largest and oldest stone circle in all of Europe. So more crop circles happen in this area or are documented in this area than anywhere else in the world, and that's where I've gone every summer since 2006. But what's really alarming to me is that it's like an old story. Like they actually thought that these two old guys, Doug and Dave, made them all, and nobody talks about them anymore. But in this area of England, just last summer alone, 2012, we had 69 crop circles in Wiltshire, England. Did you hear about any of them?
Not one of them, Patty.
Check this out. 56 more were documented, and some one or more in these countries. Tell me if you heard about any of these. Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Italy, Czech Republic, Iran, Slovakia, France, the Netherlands, Latvia, Poland, Macedonia, Germany, Switzerland, Norway, Belgium, United States, Denmark, and Australia.
Not
All
one.
these countries had one or more crop circle, and nobody's talking about it.
Why is that, Patty? What's your hypothesis on why nobody's talking about these beautiful designs? And something that I've noticed about crop circles, Patty, not two crop circles are the same.
Very, very rare. Sometimes we've had really similar ones.
Similar, yes.
Right, very rare.
It's like it's the fingerprint from the universe.
Yeah, it's kind of like an autograph. Each one is independent. In my opinion, and that's all I have for the show, and I've been in more than 100 crop circles, so I think I have opinion, which is because of experience. I have done, and I'm going to be straight up about this, no research about crop circles or UFOs.
Right.
Everything that I know is firsthand experience. Since I made the movies and I go to all these events, I've started, I read the internet constantly now about, other people's findings, of course.
Sure.
But when I was making 5 movies, I hadn't done anything. This was strictly me going in the crop circles. And now that I look back, I got to tell you, I wouldn't do it at all like I did. I mean, I was completely croppied out. I was there for 9 weeks every summer, and I probably laid in crop circles 4 hours a day, every single day.
Now, what was it like laying in a crop circle? What did you feel? What did you experience?
It's like nothing else I have ever experienced. You know how when all of a sudden something really excites you and you get goosebumps and you're tingling head to toe?
Yeah.
It's whatever that adrenaline rush is, I guess I just said it, an adrenaline rush. Your body reacts that same way, whereas you're ecstatic. And there's something very interesting about the crop circles, which is they're not only half an acre or 2 acres of wheat laid down in these unbelievably beautiful patterns, but there is this energetic field that goes an additional 10 or 20 feet out like an umbrella beyond the crop circle. And when we're walking into a wheat field, you can't see where it is unless you see heads bobbing like people over there. Oh, good, it's over there. Short of that, it's really hard to find your way in unless you have GPS coordinates. What I always had was park where there's a tree, where there's a broken branch, climb over the fence, count 5 tractor tracks to the left, and then just go in the farmlands and keep on going. I mean, the directions were always ridiculous with nature signs, but you'd find your way, and all of a sudden, bang, the hair would stand up on your arm, and you'd get goosebumps, and you could feel that ecstatic feeling. And this is the first time I've used the word ecstatic. Normally I say an enhanced electromagnetic energy. I'm not a scientist, so I don't feel totally qualified saying that, but I do know that when I turned around and looked behind me at my boyfriend, he was staring at his arm because his hairs were all standing up and his mouth was as open as it could be, and I said,
Wow.
So it's really noticeable.
Patty, you were saying that the force field or the field of the crop circle extends 20 feet past the actual design, I guess. Does it also cover the airspace on top of the crop circle?
I'm not tall enough to tell you. When I'm in the airplanes, it doesn't appear to be different flying directly over them.
Okay.
When I'm filming from these little airplanes, and so that would be, when we might drop if there was something like that. I've never experienced that, but I have flown in really stupid weather, rain and wind, and we're up there in these little planes. I get in the plane the first time. I've got this big, huge movie camera. I'm so green in the field. I have no idea what I'm doing. And the pilot says, door on or door off. I'm like, you're kidding, right? He said, well, all the professionals, fools. I was like, oh, crap, please don't do this to me. Well, I guess door off, because otherwise you're looking, you can't film very well. So, of course, door off. And then I go to put on my big halter, to hold me in nicely. And I'm like, where's the halter? And he said, oh, it's just that little belt, like a man's belt. I'm like, tell me you're kidding. I'm telling you, I wouldn't do this today, Rob. I wouldn't get in one of those planes with no halter. and hang out with my huge camera and then another small one off my wrist. So there were two different pilots. One of them was really irritating, whereas he would fly over the crop circle, so I had to lean really far out to view it. The other guy would do a nice loop around, so, I could just basically sit in the seat almost and film it just really beautifully. And every now and then that pilot, who was so exceptional, would say to me, "Look up at me," and I'd look at him, and I'd say, "Why?" And he'd go, "Just trust me, look at me." And he was banking the plane really tight. And one time I looked away like, "Come on, what are you doing?" Oh! Yeah, it was nuts. Really nuts.
Patty, are we any closer to understanding what the message behind the crop fields, the crop circles are?
There's so many real messages that have been documented in history, and the ones that are that there's no doubt about are the ones that are the binary code. Binary code is an ASCII code, which can be deciphered by a few humans that do the math, but it can be deciphered on a computer. And they've actually had really blatant binary codes in crop circles, which is really astounding because this is brittle wheat, at the end of like July and early August, and then they mow them all down to harvest the fields. But when they're bent and they're in a binary code, what you have is zeros and ones or digits that have different, turn sequences. But when this one was read in 2002, and keep in mind, this was right after 9/11. So this is the summer of 2002, right after 9/11. And there was a binary code, and I know that half your audience will remember because it was such an astounding crop circle, the alien face and the disc.
Oh, yes, yes.
Big round disc, all right, and that scary alien gray. And we saw it as scary because Hollywood puts out these movies that say, they're all vicious and they're going to kill us, but, hadn't happened yet, and a lot of people certainly are interacting with them. So, anyway, this one was clearly an alien face, and this binary code was read and deciphered. I think that the guy was this Paul the Gay? But it was clearly looked at by a variety of people, and I know that they all agreed on the message, and it was read as this: "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing." That's a crop circle. In wheat, in binary code, done in 3 hours of night in England. And it wasn't just laid in any field, Rob. It was laid in a field that had a lineup of telecommunication towers. I mean, they knew what they were doing.
Just as if to say, all right, how can we fake this? How can this be fake?
The unbelievable thing is they can't, they kind of fell away from the Doug and Dave thing because, that really didn't fly, but the world kind of went with it because that's all the newspaper printed. Doug and Dave, they made all the crop circles so you can go back to sleep, but they didn't mention the ones that happened in Italy and Germany and Belgium that same night. So in my opinion, I've always said, you go, Doug and Dave. If they travel at the speed of light and they're making all the crop circles, so be it. I give them credit. Belgium, Argentina, Brazil, Slovakia.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome.
They sound awesome. They must have some reversed engineering part of some UFO that crashed somewhere in order to do all that. Who knows? Maybe they've cloned themselves. Hey, Patty, you and I've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exo Nation, Patty GREER is my special guest. Her website is www.pattygreer.com. And Patty and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here from our new broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Send me an email. Always love hearing from you, the Exxon Nation, at xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. We'll be back after the news.
We'll meet on edges soon, said I.
Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads at xzoneradiotv.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/xzone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/xzone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
This is the X Zone Radio and TV show on the X Zone Broadcast Network and our worldwide broadcast affiliates. If you have a question for Rob McConnell or his guest, or if you have had a paranormal experience, call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 0, or email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. And on major social media sites, our address is Xzone Radio TV.
Telling me a lie without a reason why. You've blown it all sky high. You've blown it all sky high.
Exonation, Patty GREER is my special guest, and she's the original crappie. We're talking about crop circles this hour here in the X-Zone. And if you'd like to find out more about Patty, if you'd like to see the trailers of the great videos and films she's produced, visit her website at www.pattygreer.com. Patty, what was it that drove you to be so interested and wanting to find out more and more and more about these crop circles?
You know, it was really accidental how I discovered them. Mm-hmm. I was dealing with really intense mercury poisoning from silver fillings in my teeth.
Oh, no.
And nobody could heal me. I was dealing with a really bad dose. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I look back and go, wow, what a blessing was that.
Yeah.
Having to do with the crop circles, because I was a musician my whole life. I played harp and piano and sang and, played in clubs all the time. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I went and had all the mercury fillings taken out of my teeth, and this bad man, dentist, that I hired to do porcelain, put in a bunch of new mercury.
Oh.
I can't even fathom, other than he'd been doing it too long and he was out of his mind. But the interesting blessing was that I was misled by my doctors for 7 years. So it had the opportunity, the mercury, to stay in my system for 7 years, where I was given the wrong blood test. During the course of those 7 years, it didn't affect my brain or the rest of my body, but it took my hands. And instead of being able to play harp and piano and do life, my hands had cuts all over them from the mercury, and I was taken out of life.
Oh.
And I was so taken out of life that it was my desperation to heal that took me to the crop circles.
How did
Totally off the wall.
Why did you decide to go and use crop circles? Was it an alternative healing method that you have heard of, or was it something to say that you just said, hey, I'm going to try this?
You know, if I look back, I just feel like I must have given them the ticket and hopped on the Disney ride, because this whole thing, as I look back now, and I say to you seriously, I wouldn't do it again. You know, some of the things like flying in the airplane and hanging out with the camera. But, you know, going in the crop circles, to me, is one of the greatest blessings of my entire life, next to my Harley. It's just, you know, it's something that is once in a lifetime. But what happened was some friends of mine had come back from the crop circles, and I was like, hey, oh, my God, you look different. What did you do to yourselves? Both of you look really different. I mean, I am intuitive, but you could just tell by looking at them they weren't the same person. And I had been suffering so bad with my hands, and I'd been to every kind of healer, and nobody could help me, that I was just like, I don't know what you had, but I'm going to go get some. And I got over there, and I was so blown away by that feeling, that ecstatic feeling, that tingly all over my body. And they didn't really heal me at all. And it's interesting that all my work with, which I call them the ETs, that everything I've ever asked of them, they never give me what I want, they give me what I need. And it's really interesting, because I've been through a difficult time with people with these movies, because my movies are probably the only ones showing the balls of light making the crop circles. And I'm really blatant about it, because I spent nights on the hill, you know, doing the overlook with the other crazy crappies that would spend the night on the hill with their cameras. I happened to have filmed the big, bright orange balls of light. And I had a friend from Holland that was crazy like me, and she'd come out and do night watch, and she had an even better camera, 35 mil, and so I had the Instamatic little thing. But we're up on this hill, and she's across the meadow on her hill, and we both filmed these orange balls of light the same night. And the most amazing thing happened in 2010. I went over with my gentleman friend, and I said, I really want to leave the camera home. I've made 4 movies. It is really expensive to do, so I just want to stop and go have fun in the crop circles. No, let's bring the camera. And I said, no, you don't understand. And it's really hard to explain to people that I really didn't train for these movies. I didn't have any experience. This was not anything I meant to do. But all these movies happened after I laid in a crop circle in 2007. And at the time, I thought I had passed out. But when I opened my eyes again, I saw things I had never seen before. I'm laying on my back in a crop circle, and I was seeing things moving in the sky, and I've seen them ever since. But my eyes really changed to where it was like I could see a parallel universe. The interesting thing is I'm all deep and heavy over there. Oh, my God, I've shifted. And I come back here, and they're here. I can see them all the time. And when I'm outside with people, I'm like, seriously, relax your eyes, do this, do it. And most people can see them.
What do they look like, Patty?
Well, there's a couple different things, and again, our time is so tight. But for everybody listening, you can all go outside tomorrow when the sun is up, and don't look into the sun. Wrap your hands, like cup them around the sides, put your hands over your forehead like a visor so you're not looking into the light, but relax your eyes and stare, and relax your eyes more, and you'll see these little white glints. Almost everybody sees the white glints. And, of course, somebody will say, oh, that's dust on your eyelids. Well, it isn't. Oh, that's blood vessel. It's not. Keep relaxing and watching these white glints, because all of a sudden, the more you watch, the more you'll see. They leave little trails. Everybody can see them. I've never seen anybody that can't, other than people that are stubborn. And if you relax even further, it's that same muscle that, remember those flat 3D cards where you look and all of a sudden you relax your eyes enough, pop. All of a sudden there's a something howling at the moon, you know, and you can see it there, but the card didn't change. It was just your perception and relaxing that eye muscle. If you can do that while you're looking at the sky, clouds or blue, you will start to see even more than the little white glints, these big, round, they're not actually that big, but they're round plasma balls. And I sound crazy saying this, but if people go out and really take their time, for those of you who see them, you're going to go, oh my God, I'm so glad I was listening to Rob's show that night, because for the rest of your life you will see these things. They are visible to everyone. And I think the fact that I can see these and show them to groups of people, and half of them at least can see at least the glints, and many of them can see these, I think they're plasma. And again, I'm just guessing. I'm not a scientist, but when we look at the different layers of solids, liquids, gas, plasma, light, ether, you know, the layer between gas and light is plasma. So this plasma is something that is becoming visible, and we've got to know, with everybody having, so many people, not everybody, having interactions with different races of extraterrestrials, or seeing ghosts. You know, we call them different names, but they're pretty much other dimensional beings. Have you had a sighting, Rob?
Nothing like that, Patty, no. I was just wondering, where do you believe that these balls of plasma are coming from, and is there a connection between these balls of plasma and the ETs?
I think they're all many different races, and I've been reading a lot about all the different races, actually interesting communications. But I want to stick with what I know from my studies, which is that these crop circles, and in England, which is where I go because there's more there than anywhere else, and when I'm there for like 9 weeks during the summer, every morning you get up at your B&B, and, you know, you're right in the center of the phenomena because you're in Wiltshire. That's where I choose to stay. But you'll wake up and the B&B owner says, oh, yes, there's one, or, oh, there's 2 new crop circles today, and bang, you're out the door. You know, you want to get there before anybody else so that you can examine the wheat and really see if it's bent nodes, blown nodes, or all broken, which is human-made. And the difference is, with the humans, when they go out and make a crop circle with their boards and ropes, you can look at the wheat, and where it's bent, it's broken. But when the crop circles are not typically made by humans, I think they're made by something higher dimensional, you will find these beautiful bubbles, bang, and they bend over. And sometimes the bubbles show a burn mark, and it popped open like there was too much heat, and it burned it, and it burst open. But all of them, hundreds of thousands of stems of wheat, stalks of wheat or barley, will actually bend in flawless sacred geometry. I don't know what they're using to lay it down, but from the movie that I did that won a lot of awards, it's called Crop Circle Update, The Wake-Up Call. It's on my website. It's on Amazon, but you can see the trailers on my website. And this one, in the first 5 minutes, I show you the balls of light laying down a crop circle. There's only one guy that ever hit play on his camera while he was in a field, and he actually saw balls of light lay a crop circle down. Have you seen that footage? It's been here since 1996.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who are skeptical say that the balls of light are you know, it's ball lightning, it's this, it's that. The question is, that amazes me, Patty, how do these balls of plasma that you're discussing make these beautiful, undeniable crop circles?
I can't answer that, but I can tell you that they communicate right before the field goes down.
Really?
And what happened for me was the very first year I was in England.
Mm-hmm.
It was all rainy, wet. I had my daughter with me. I had to behave, but we still had amazing things happen. The second year when I came back, 2007, was when I was taken. When I had that experience was 2007. And when I opened my eyes and started seeing those things,
Mm-hmm.
I also opened my eyes and went, holy crap, what am I thinking? I mean, it was like, it was where they took me, I know now, was the Library of Illumination, and this sounds like hopping to the punchline because we have a short show, but I learned a lot really fast. Whatever they did, it was a bang-o, because within 2 years I made 4 movies without doing research. And it's not that I'm brilliant, it's that all of a sudden, whatever they did with me, I think it had something to do with the fact that I was full of mercury and full of heavy metals. And the weirdest thing was that 6 months ago, I finally healed. And every now and then, people that are psychic or whatever, we get a word. And it's like I had these weird words come to me one day about 6 months ago, and the word was transmitter. And I was like, what? And I forgot about it. And later in the day, I got transmitter. I was like, well, that was weird. I remember that was this morning, so I wrote it down. And later that night, I heard I was like, okay. So I stuck it on a sticky note on my door of my bedroom. So every time I walked in and out, I'd see the word, and I'd say it and go, what? And I finally realized, what's a transmitter? Well, these crop circles, a lot of them have been put in fields. Remember I mentioned the alien face and the disc?
Yes.
In a line of transmitter towers. They're big metal towers, and they transmit information.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I went, oh, my God. That's what the metal was. That's why it didn't kill me. It was that I needed to be full of metal. What a weird thing, how this was laid out for me, how perfect. And now, thank God, it's over because I got my hands back. But it was really strange taking my hands and not the rest of my body so that I couldn't do life. And I would totally dedicate it to them. And I'm not a crazy person. This is really weird for me. And when I look back, I go, whoa, that was well played. But let's talk about the crop circles in this little bit of time, because what are they and why? Why are they doing pictures and binary codes and sacred geometry that goes into the brain on a subconscious level? Because it's perfectly symmetrical. In my opinion, crop circles are the way ETs are communicating. What I've always said is that they are the first physical manifestation of ET communication for humanity. They're using these art images because it's a language with no barriers. They're not saying it or singing it or clicking sounds. It's right there that everybody with our eyes, no words, can see. And they have eyes. So I think that they've done something very brilliant by choosing this canvas of these huge farm fields all over the world and laying down these images for humanity to experience and then share with others.
Patty, you and I have to take our final commercial break for this hour. Fascinating topic with a fascinating lady. Patty GREER is my special guest to this first hour of tonight's show, X-Zone Nation. Her website is www.pattygreer.com, filled with wonderful information. And Patty and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
I gave you love. I thought that we had made it to the top. I gave you all I had to give. Why did it have to stop? You've blown it all sky high by telling me.
Born a Shiite Muslim and taught the Quran in his youth are some of the reasons why President Obama has an affinity for Islam and the Muslim people. His nuclear deal with Iran allows them to obtain over $150 billion to stimulate their country domestically and militarily while pursuing their objective to develop a nuclear bomb.
A groundbreaking article by Nicholas Jennings titled "Obama Continues to Lie to the American People" exposes many lies Obama has made. It includes lies to the American people on the Obama-Iran nuclear deal and Benghazi. The Jennings article is provided on the internet link www.rel-mar.com/NG2. That's www.rel-mar.com/NG2.
When demystified, shamanism is an ancient science delving into the quantum level of life. Understanding and implementing basic shamanic principles can empower the individual to heal, manifest, and evolve in these rapidly changing times. Path Home Shamanic Art School is a one-of-a-kind Colorado State certified occupational school training and certifying shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also train individuals simply interested in empowering and enriching their lives through shamanism. Path Home's certification classes are in a week-long block format, enabling national and international students to participate. We also provide online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions as well. Discover all you can be. Enter the limitless world of shamanism today. For more information, visit findyourpathhome.com or call 303-775-3431.
Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads@xzoneradiotv.com. Welcome back, everyone. Patty GREER is my special guest. And Patty, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great hour. Love to have you back on in the near future to continue this conversation. But Patty, you want to talk to the Exo Nation about these balls of light.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the famous Oliver's Castle footage, the one that most people have seen, and half the world goes, yeah, it's real. The rest go, oh, it's not. It's, fake. So I bring this footage home. I got permission to use it for my first movie. I didn't realize I was doing a movie, but I came home with 1,100 photos. Come on, what's wrong with me? And I had also been there so long, and I had so many amazing friends that were big speakers in Europe that were in the crop circles, for a week with me, and I was there for 9 weeks. So I invited the film crew from the crop circle show to come over and symposium and film my friends and I for a day. So I come home with all this footage and 1,100 photos, and I lay out this first movie, and I had no idea what I was doing. I got this editor from Craigslist, and at the end of the movie I said, oh, I got permission to use the Oliver's Castle famous footage, and this is the end of the movie. How awesome. So I lay it in, and the editor goes, wow, that's cool. And I said, done. Move. Whoa, what's happening? And the guy looks at me and he goes, you look weird, the editor. And I said, yeah, this is really weird. Look at my arm. And he said, the hair's standing up on your arms. You're full of goosebumps. And I said, oh, my God, I'm totally tingling. I feel like I'm standing in a crop circle right now. I feel like they're in the room with me. This is really weird. And he said, you have goosebumps head to toe. And I said, yeah, I do. Reverse the footage. He said, why? I said, reverse the footage. He reversed the footage. I said, slow it down. He said, how slow? And I said, I don't know, 30%. And we both looked at each other, and I said, I don't know what's going on. Just do it. So we reversed it. He slowed it down 30%. And swear to God, Rob, I found right there on the footage, the original Oliver's Castle footage, these two balls of light had a direct communication between them. It's a digital or a binary code. It's white, black, black, white. And I have, it's not me, I found the clip of the communication on that footage right before the field laid down. And that is the end of my first movie. And when I realized after an hour 20, people are so overwhelmed by how much information is there and how many images of crop circles that they miss the ending, which is this is how crop circles are made. So I did my new update movie. It's called Crop Circle Update, The Wake Up Call, and I show it 3 times in the first 5 minutes just so people don't miss it. And it's so overwhelming that you kind of miss it in the beginning because it's like you can't believe that that's really happening. So I show it 3 times, and by the third time you get it, that these balls of light actually communicated before they laid the seal down. I think the footage is real, and the way that I got the information was too weird to be true. It was like all of a sudden they were in my house, and I had goosebumps, the whole thing. And it wasn't like I did the math to say 30% backwards. I had no idea. This is how my 5 movies have happened. It's been an absolute miracle. The information in them is really the most advanced information about crop circles.
Well, Patty, we'll have to talk about
interestingly
that later because we've just run out of time for tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us. You take care of yourself, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone. Take care, Patty.
Thank you.
X Zone Nation, Patty GREER was my guest this hour, and we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour, as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.